Silence doesn't just feel awkward. It pressures the other person to fill it, usually with the truth. You've felt it in job interviews, you felt it on dates, in arguments, in that pause after you ask a question you already suspect the answer to. You know, nobody warned you that quiet has weight, but the real reason it works has almost nothing to do with the words that come after it. Here's what actually happens in your brain during a pause. Around 4 seconds is where it starts. Namke Kaudenberg, a social psychologist at the University of Groningen, found that conversational silences longer than 4 seconds start to feel like something broke, not a delay, a rupture. Your brain reads it as a signal that the social contract just failed and it scrambles to repair it. So you talk, not because you decided to, because the discomfort decided for you. This is why interrogators love it. FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss built an entire technique around it. He'd ask a question, then say nothing, not a follow-up, not a nod, just quiet, and the person across from him, desperate to close the gap, would keep talking past their rehearsed answer into the real one. Notice that it's happening to you right now, every time someone pauses a beat too long after you speak. Think about the last time you over-explained something nobody asked you to explain. A friend went quiet after you said you were fine. You kept going. You added details you didn't plan to share. That wasn't honesty arriving on its own schedule. That was you patching a hole. The silence opened. Robert Cialdini spent decades studying persuasion at Arizona State, and he calls this a version of reciprocity, except what's being exchanged isn't a favor, it's air. Someone withholds a response, and you feel obligated to supply one. The debt isn't spoken, it's just there, sitting in the space between two people, and you're the one who ends up paying it down. Here's the part that should bother you more than it does. You already know this trick. You've probably used it on a kid who broke something and won't admit it, on a partner who says nothing's wrong in a tone that means everything is. You wait, you don't ask twice, you just let the quiet do what your questions couldn't, and it works on you exactly the same way it works on everyone else, which means half the honesty you've delivered in your life wasn't a decision at all. It was a reflex dressed up afterward as a choice. That's the part that's hard to sit with, because if silence can extract truth without a single question being asked, then what does that say about the truths you thought you chose to tell? Maybe less than you'd like. Maybe your most vulnerable confessions were never really volunteered. They were pulled loose by a gap you couldn't stand to leave open. Here's the twist, though. The silence isn't lying to you. It's not a trick in the manipulative sense, even though the setup makes it feel like one. It's an old, blunt tool your nervous system uses to keep social bonds from fraying. Groups that couldn't tolerate unresolved tension didn't survive very well as groups. Yours runs the same math today, 4 seconds at a time, whether you like the answer or not. There's a version of this that shows up outside of the arguments in interviews too. Watch two strangers on a long elevator ride, nobody talks. Somewhere around the 15th floor, one of them cracks and says something about the weather, the building, anything. That's the same mechanism, just smaller stakes. So the next time a conversation goes quiet and your chest tightens, notice what you're actually reacting to. It's not the person across from you, it's the gap itself and your nervous system's oldest instinct to close it. You can let it sit there a second longer than feels natural. You can watch the urge to fill it rise and just not try it once on purpose, and pay attention to what comes out of your own mouth when nobody's forcing you to speak. Silence doesn't just feel awkward, it's the loudest question you'll ever ask without opening your mouth. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for more videos.